Hey guys, welcome back. It's Nerds Deep. Hope your guys' Thanksgiving was great. I know I ate a lot. I know Billy ate a lot, and Frank got COVID. So there,
Yeah.
news is
And I'm on screen.
Billy is here this week.
I mean, I'm here every week, but I'm not on screen.
He's totally here, and we appreciate it. So welcome Billy to the video part of our discussion, where he will be slaughtered ruthlessly. And Phil, we believe, is maybe taking a little cat naparoo, so Phil may jump on any time, so keep your eyes peeled for him. But we're just going to kind of jump straight into it. Once again, I hope everybody's safe, had a great Thanksgiving, saw family. If not, totally appropriate, because this Thanksgiving was a little weird. There's a lot of stuff to cover. We'll start with some Nintendo. So there's a Switch update that's now live. It's update 11.0.0, and this came out yesterday or day before. It's a pretty sizable update. There's a lot of things added to the Switch. Nintendo Switch Online icon has been added to the home menu. Also, there's Super Nintendo and regular Nintendo icons have kind of been grouped into a folder, and people are starting to mine the code and see that there's probably another spot coming. Some rumors are pointing towards a more original, like Game Boy, maybe Game Boy Advance, is the next wave coming for the Switch in the library. I hope it's Nintendo 64, but I think that's probably coming in 2021. Because that'll be a monstrous ordeal, a lot of sweet games. And they're still promoting, Mario 64, which they'll stop selling that with Sunshine and Odyssey in March. So it's probably not N64 time yet, because they're not going to kind of double dip. It's Nintendo. It's all about money. So
right.
A lot of people are thinking original Game Boy or Game Boy Advance, and those both would be freaking crazy.
I just want to give a quick shout out to the chat. What's up, KJ? What's up, Zang? KJ, thank you for the 10 biddies.
Thank you, KJ. So, yeah, Zang, I saw you blowing up the chat earlier, man. Welcome back, dude. Frank, how are you doing, man?
I'm here. I'm just kind of trying to at least be part of something and have some sort of semblance of normal life, but it's rough, and that's why I'm not on camera tonight, because it's just it's hard. I'll have a really good moment, and then I'll have a really, really bad moment, and yeah. I just gotta keep pushing through, though. Wear your damn mask. I know it's not 100%. I'm not naive, but wear your mask.
Just do it. It's a piece of cloth, guys.
Exactly. Your mask is there to help your fellow people,
Wash your hands, wear your mask. It's not hard. It's simple hygiene. Just
even if you don't believe in it, just do it. It's a piece of cloth. It doesn't hurt.
Protect yourself and protect others, because you don't know when you've got this thing.
Yeah.
Until it's way too late.
Exactly.
So I've worked with Frank for years, and I've seen him at some pretty sick times, and he pushes through. And I called him the other day in the middle of him having a bad day, and it was pretty bad. He didn't want to hang up on me. He stayed on the phone, even though I tried to be like, dude, get some rest. And he sounded like death. So I've never heard him sound that bad, and I've seen him go through some pretty nasty flu seasons. I've seen him lose his voice completely. I've seen him really sick, and he'll never call out work. So to hear him that bad, I was like, damn, dude, I'm legit worried. And of course he went to the ER within 24 hours from that point. So Frank, glad you're back, getting better, eating McRibs like they're going out of style.
I had McRibs. That is one thing. I've never lost my appetite. And the McRibs, I'm so glad they're back.
We're just going to flush all that COVID out with some good old-fashioned.
I will say the lack of taste probably helps with the like of the McRib.
Hey,
I can taste this.
Listen, the McRib is a shit sandwich, but It's fucking delicious, and sorry for my friend. Oh wait, I changed this to mature.
It's still
Fucking delicious sandwich.
The McRibs we're from Kansas City. Yeah, people that watch the show know that. And we're kind of picky on our barbecue. We're not trying to claim the McRib is a good barbecue. Don't get this wrong.
Oh hell no! Like even my wife was like, "You're a barbecue fanatic, and you like this." I'm like, "This doesn't categorize in the barbecue sector. This is not barbecue.
No,
this is just a nostalgic sandwich.
Yeah, it's a novelty.
The novelty nostalgic sandwich. I don't consider this barbecue by any fucking means.
It's like a Tab Cola. It's not good, but it's so retro and classic that you're like, fuck it, I'm drinking it. It's
or like Crystal Pepsi. I mean, you know.
Oof. Ugh. That's tough to get your mind around.
Yeah, I miss Crystal Pepsi.
They brought it back for a little while, and then they took it away.
I know, then they took it away again. Crystal Pepsi was awesome. Come on. Even look, it's different. It's not Pepsi. If you think you're going to get Pepsi, you're not going to get Pepsi. But it's in of its own right, it was not bad.
Hang on, man. Domino's. Sometimes you just got to have some Domino's, man. You start watching like '80s movies, and like Domino's pops up. You're like, oh shit, I got to have me some Domino's.
The new Domino's is good. You know how Domino's made its comeback, right? In all honesty, this is the
Pasta?
truth. No, Papa John's, the original Papa John's sauce recipe, the trademark expired. Domino's swooped in and took it, and that's what they're using now. And Papa John's had to change theirs because Domino's took the trademark. That's how Domino's has made their comeback now.
And this is a lesson in don't forget to re-up on your trademarks, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Papa John's has been screwing the pooch for a while.
Grillo's right. They stopped spitting in the pizza too. That helped.
Or they started, spitting better in the pizza. I don't know.
Yes.
Right.
We still eat Domino's in my house, and
Oh, Zangrillo's in New York, so yeah, Domino's is novelty pizza. I've been to New York. They have some pizza. It's good.
Oh, yeah.
No doubt. Get a freaking slice on the street that's like the size of your head. Oh, that stuff is good. So, anyways, we got a lot of stuff to go through. We need to cruise through this info. Thanks for the chat, guys. Keep it coming. More updates with this Switch. There's going to be Nintendo linked to multiple systems to your Nintendo account. Save data backed up from one console will automatically download it to your other systems.
Nice.
So now you can have multiple Switches, which is yet again lending its hand towards a Switch Pro coming in first to second quarter next year. Let's see. Nintendo Switch Online membership is required to use the Save Data Cloud service. Users can check what software their friends are playing and have started playing recently, so you can link up through games easier. Users can wirelessly connect their smart devices to their Switch to transfer screenshots and videos within their album. This doesn't sound like a lot, but now Nintendo has opened up the Switch to connect to your smartphone and share data. That's a huge deal for Nintendo. Nintendo doesn't ever do that. So for you to be able to share screenshots and within your album to your smartphone, that's a step in a direction that can possibly be huge things for Nintendo Switch owners. We're still stuck on the same damn background. That's garbage. And now there's folders. Now there's icons coming with this update. So
in all reality, I've sold my Switch, and watching some of these updates now, I want to find it again. I want to get me another Switch.
Buy my Lite because I want the Pro.
I think I would be good with the Lite because I never put it on the TV anyway.
You didn't, and the Lite is awesome. It has better battery life, and it looks great. The smaller screen really isn't that big a deal, but no offense to regular Switch users because that thing's badass too. I have to justify why I got a Lite for $200. It's all I could find at the time, so I'm happy with it.
Now, Zangrillo's kind of right. Nintendo has to evolve. His 6-year-old got a PS4 and doesn't want to touch a Switch anymore. Yes, Nintendo has to evolve within itself, though. It can't try to be what the other guys are.
Well,
And
and if anybody is a Fortnite fan, I mean, they have Fortnite on Twitch, guys.
Right, and the
The new
Switch is
season.
really good.
Oh.
If you have kids at home and you don't want to wake kids up, like you can game in your bed. Like
Yeah.
the Switch is really, really good. And for those who grew up on Game Boys and all that, like the Switch is a really damn good version of Game Boys, and it plays so good. So
Yeah.
it's great. It's just if they update the interface to be a smidge better. I mean, we're all game for that, and the Switch is making them so much damn money they can't ignore it.
Yeah, and Zhang's right. Like, he doesn't want to buy another Switch until they fix the drift on the controller. He's went through many faulty controllers, and my controllers even have the damn drift. And
Yeah.
it sucks. Yeah, no, it sucks hardcore. Like when you're
My-
trying to play a
my
game and your
wife-
character's just going.
It's just spinning around.
Yeah.
So I haven't had the issue with my light yet, but it's going to happen, and it's just a matter of time. Now, there's ways they've used to mitigate it, and honestly, like just send it in and get a free, Joy-Cons installed. It's a pain in the ass, but it's free in America. And honestly, if it's that big of a deal, just threaten them, to sue, and they'll probably give you some hush money, and then sell your Switch for as much as you paid for it, because Switches are going for crazy money still.
Oh, yeah.
So there's ways out of it, but it does suck, saying like it straight up. It's bullshit that we're still being fed faulty controllers, and Nintendo's being sued, and imprisonment is being threatened in France because of it. If you sell known faulty electronics to people and then don't stand behind it, like you face imprisonment as a CEO, executives.
Oh,
like
wow.
France won't play.
How would
at
you
all.
like to be a GameStop worker, for example, or even a Walmart employee or a Target employee, knowing that you can go to jail for passing that across the counter?
Yeah, I mean, legit, you're probably not going to go to jail because you're just a peon at GameStop. But in the France, in their litigation, it specifically says to point of resale. Like France don't play. We talked about a month ago, and yeah, they've imprisoned multiple executives in the gaming industry because of faulty components. So
Wow. I didn't even know about that. I totally forgot about that topic that you talked about.
And users can also use a USB cable to connect their Switch to the computer to copy screenshots and videos saved under their album. So Switch now has interfacing with your computer other than charging. That's big stuff. Like these are all steps that maybe don't look like much on the surface, but it's huge for Nintendo because they're opening the Switch to be vulnerable, number one, and to share content, which is something Nintendo never, ever does. So this is a huge evolution. And when there are multiple software, update data, downloadable content in progress, users can now select which one they want to download first to save battery life.
Nice.
You can set download options. In the home menu, 12 new user icons to commemorate 35th anniversary, and Brazilian and Portuguese was added in supported language, which, as we reported, in Brazil, there has been no Switch sales, no Switch Nintendo online store in Brazil at all until just like last month.
Oh, wow.
So Brazil has been out on the Switch this whole time, and that's crazy to think an entire giant, country like that is just not supported. So now they are back in the umbrella, so to speak, and honestly, Nintendo's raking in so much money. They just don't know what to do to keep up with it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I think Grillo makes a good point. They're actually coming to buy it here because
Correct.
they can't get it there. So
what they do is they import it from America and pay a huge premium, and then have to buy the cartridges from America, and it's all like double, triple the cost just to have a Switch to play it out there in Brazil. Like that's hugely inconvenient and expensive, and still you have no online library, so you can't even download updates, anything. So it's kind of been a real pain in the ass for them.
Oof. But this next thing that we're about to talk about is kind of exciting. Doom Eternal is coming to the Switch next week, it looks like. Looks like it's going to be released on December 8th. Nintendo and Bethesda Softworks announced it on Monday. Doom Eternal was released on the PlayStation 4, Stadia, Windows PC, Xbox One, pretty much everywhere everywhere you can think of. And around, what was that, like March? With the Nintendo Switch release date being expected later in the year. Well, it looks like we're getting that later in the year. I mean, the end of the year, but whatever. At least it's coming. So, Nintendo posted in the YouTube trailer on Monday to get ready to conquer demons when Doom Eternal comes to the Nintendo Switch on December 8th. In an FAQ published on Bethesda's website, the company said the game will be digital only, so you cannot get a hard cartridge or anything like that. You'll only be able to download it on the Nintendo Switch store. It will be available there through digital codes from other retailers. Doom Eternal's The Ancient Gods Part 1 downloadable content will also be released at a later date. So people who already pre-ordered the game ahead of the release date may have had their pre-orders canceled, which seems odd. Bethesda said the company said to reach out to your retailer for instructions. So Doom Eternal's expected storage size on the Nintendo Switch is about 18 gigabytes, 19 gigabytes-ish, according to Bethesda, which isn't too bad for storage. I mean, I don't remember how much storage the Switch has inherently, but I don't think that's killing you on storage by any means.
I mean, it's not a huge game, but it's not small. It's kind of middle of the path.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting.
The big deal with this is the Doom Eternal online downloadable game for the Switch is a smidge different than consoles. Obviously, it's condensed. Graphics are condensed.
Yeah.
Some of the levels have been slightly modified, so it's not the exact Doom Eternal you're going to get on console or PC. But for all intents and purposes, it's optimized for the Switch. Now, that being said, that's why the pre-orders are getting wonky, and people are like, the reason why they've made this statement is people are worried, but like GameStop is going to cancel their pre-order and take their money and tell them to pound sand, because GameStop has done that notoriously. So the GameStop has yet to kind of come out and make an official statement on this. I assume they're not stupid. GameStop is actually rebounding stock-wise and company-wise. They're trying. So they're probably just going to issue refunds and it's going to be fine, or GameStop is going to sell the pre-order online downloadable content, DLC, through GameStop or like a little prepaid card or whatever. So there's a workaround. I don't think people are going to get screwed out of money, but because it's different and it's downloadable only, that's why the pre-orders have been canceled thus far.
Interesting.
So Doom Eternal coming to the Switch. I'll download it to mine. Let you know how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, that's really cool that they're expanding out to the Switch as well. That's a very high intense game for the Switch. That something you wouldn't expect on Nintendo's side of things from record past. But I definitely see if they can pull this off, and it looks good and it looks nice. I mean, the Switch is slightly coming up. They're getting better.
It's just a cash cow. I mean, you're stupid not to release a name state title on the Switch.
Yeah.
It has just enough power to where you can run. I mean, Witcher 3 was on the Switch. Like, that game crippled the hell out of consoles and PCs in the day, and now it's running on the Switch just fine. It has to be optimized, mind you, because it's not a heavy hitter hardware-wise, but it's a handheld.
Yeah.
And it's a damn good handheld, and that NVIDIA Shield GPU does a good job. So just release it on the Switch, rake in the millions and millions and millions, move on. Like, rinse, repeat. That's the name of the game. Everything's coming to the Switch for that reason. Okami HD, speaking of cash cows. So Okami's a game that was on Wii, PS3.
What's the game? I'm not familiar.
Okami. It's like beautifully like a painting style of artwork. It's like a White Wolf where you kind of play through adventures, and it's kind of open worldy RPG-esque. It's a game.
Okay.
Wii, PS3. Just, I mean, Google it real quick. see a picture of it, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Anybody in the chat heard of this game? I feel like
everyone's heard of this freaking game. Don't tell me you haven't. I didn't play video games, so
all I heard was Okami, so I related it to origami.
And you're not wrong to do that.
No, I've heard of Okami though. I have never played it though myself.
It's really, really good. I'll download it. I didn't realize it came out on Switch today. So, roughly 600,000 copies have sold on the Switch, and that's more than any other console. And it's not been out for very long on the Switch. So it goes to show you, if you release it on the Switch, you'll make money. It's successful. If it's a halfway good game, it'll be great on the Switch. Yeah, it's the White Wolf game. Yeah, you're right, Zane. It's a good game. It's hugely beautiful. It was like graphically beautiful in the day and we're talking Wii and PS3 days. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. It has been optimized. It says Okami HD because they have optimized it, make it look really good on the Switch. It ought to play great. So I can't wait to download it. I'll probably do it right after the stream.
Now, hang on. Okay.
My bad.
Not to train wreck this too far, but do you still have an old Wii? Do either of you still have an old Wii?
I mean, I have an old Wii.
Have you plugged that thing in lately?
No, it's been years, man.
Everything's shut off online, so you're kind of screwed there. But as far as like the games, dude, it's so fun to still go back to that retro, if you will, retro. Yeah, because it was so unique in its design. I still love the Wii. Wii bowling and
same here.
Yeah. I wish they would have expanded the Wii some more.
Awesome. Mario Kart on the Wii was super good.
Yeah.
Wii was like way ahead of its time, and it kind of shook the console industry up. In fact, most of these console numbers that are just wacky and throwing all this profit out which has been the Switch, because the PlayStation 2 outsold every console, and the Switch is working on that. But
I remember when the Wii first came out, like you could not get it anywhere. Like, and they were also limiting it to the point where you could only buy one per household.
Yeah, that's kind of what started the revolution of not being able to get a console for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yeah.
You think about VR today, and all of that started through
Wii.
Like the Wii. With the motion sense,
the remote, and all of that.
People don't give enough credit to the Wii to what it really advanced in gaming.
So speaking of advancements, let's talk about the other direction. We advance straight to jail. Nintendo hacker Ryan Hernandez sentenced to 3 years in prison following a guilty plea. So Ryan Hernandez, a hacker, stealing information from Nintendo's Switch prior to its release, which this is like 2017 time frame. So the sentence followed a plea agreement originally proposed in January of this year. In addition to prison time, Hernandez will also be required to pay Nintendo $260,000 in retribution for stolen information. Which, if you think about stolen information of the Switch before it was released and what the Switch is worth, $260,000 is nothing.
Oh yeah, that's nothing.
He's got to go to prison and pay that shit back. Wow, that sucks. Don't fuck with Nintendo, man. They will kill you. Those people.
But if he only got a $260,000 judgment, he must not have sold it or done anything with it.
He just released it just for fun.
So it was just one of those things where he thought
that's a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, but it seems like he did it to the point where he was just like, I'm going to do this to see if I can do it, and then I'm just going to release the stuff just because why not?
I mean, this guy, Ryan Hernandez, is a piece of shit. So The FBI requested Hernandez to stop illegal activity in 2017. Hernandez continued to dig up confidential information regarding in the following years after the investigation started. So he didn't care. He's just like, good luck. So in July 2019, a search of Hernandez's hard drives by the FBI revealed a stash of child porno and videos of child abuse. Like, this dude is a piece of shit. So
Wow.
he deserves a lot more than 3 years.
He deserves more than he should be in there for life for that. I mean, sorry.
Yeah.
If you even dabble in anything relating to child that isn't the normal, child shit that like people get into because they're parents or whatever. If you get into that kind of shit with children, you deserve life and a death sentence. Sorry, that's my opinion. Anything involving a child, death sentence.
Okay, I stepped away for a second, came back, and you're talking about child.
Well, this Ryan Hernandez, the search of his hard drives, the FBI found child pornography and videos of child abuse.
No, dude needs a roast. There's not even a question there.
Sorry, it's goodbye. Like, once you get that realm, you're done.
He needs to burn. I have zero tolerance for that type of shit.
Yeah, I was saying that anything to do with a child, death sentence. Sorry.
So I know
death is too nice. I that's where I favor cruel and unusual.
I don't disagree, but it's 7:58. Here's what I want everyone watching to do.
Oh yes,
that Phil's information. We're gonna take a quick beer break and pee break. But also, we're all going to blow Phil's everything up. His Discord, his phone. If you can control the lights in his house, make them blink. If you live nearby, light some fire in the front yard. Like, let's get Phil up. Let's get him on this stream. Come on, everybody. We need your help.
And in all seriousness, come in the chat. Talk with us. It means more than you know to see your feedback. Even if we may not respond to it immediately, we see it. We love it. We thrive on it. Come talk to us in the chat.
Except for Zang.
Diego. yeah, I agree.
Zang knows I love him.
Zang, dude, he's got it tonight again, man. He's on.
We'll
take a quickie break. We will see you guys back here probably a few minutes. Play 2-3 songs or whatever, probably a couple songs, and we'll see you soon, guys. Blow up, Phil. Blow him up.
Yep. Getting nerds deep in it. And we'll be back.
Welcome back, Nerds Deep, the show that hates on Frank because he's a pain in the ass to everyone in Hell and Creation.
More than I can ever explain.
So we got a Demon Souls. A Demon Souls player discovers the PS5 records mic audio as you capture a trophy during gameplay. So this dude, I don't know how this happens, but he beat this big boss. He'd been playing for hours, and as the boss was being defeated, falling to the ground, vanishing, and the trophy was being rewarded, of course he's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I got you, woo! And then he plays his screenplay back, the screen capture, and it plays his audio. So he posts it online and goes, hey, Sony, this is quite interesting. I don't think I like this. And so it's had the internet ablaze this week.
Wow.
And obviously Sony will address this. Demon Souls devs will address this. But damn, it makes you think that,
what else has been recorded?
Well, let me say this on that. It's one thing if it's an innocent recording that is kept to you locally, that's not uploaded, whatever. Let's just say it's there. That you can go back and relive that moment of how you felt, so to speak, and how you acted.
I can understand it, and I
that's a
mind
cool
it.
feature.
I wouldn't mind it if they specifically said that someone needs to turn down their stuff. I can hear my voice.
Yeah,
it's probably me. I'm an asshole.
If they specifically said that was a thing that happened. Now, because they've never announced that that's a thing that happens, that's annoying and very nerve-wracking.
Right.
But
because
if they announced it that way and it was locally saved like that, and you knew about it and you knew that was a thing, yeah, that's a cool feature, like to be able to go back and relive that moment when you first beat the boss, or when you first beat the game, or when you got this massive trophy that you've been working to try and get, and you can go back, look at that, and hear what your reaction was to that moment. That is cool if they announced it that way.
Yeah, and Zangrillo brings up a real good point in chat. We've got Echoes and Echo Buds and iPhones and Google devices and Google Homes, and we've got all this stuff around us, but we're worried about a friggin' PlayStation.
Think about it this way. I can talk about the new whatever I'm wanting to get, never have searched it on the internet, never have touched anything. I've literally just started talking about it, and then go to Facebook and there's an ad for it. And so, and if you're worried about that, then don't even, why worry? You got everything else in your house.
Sony, Google, Amazon, all these are saying, yes, we're recording you because it helps our service be better for you. Facebook, on the other hand, is like, no, we're not doing it, but it's obvious the proof is there.
It's surely not exploiting you to China.
Right.
So, not to beat this dead horse, but it's a simple faux pas. This is all new hardware, new software. Obviously, it wasn't intended, to be a big deal. Sony's not. They've promised. They've said it multiple times. They're not selling your information. These mics are on these controllers to enhance your gameplay, to help you connect with friends, and the mics are actually really good on the controllers. And this has been going on for years.
And a lot of new games nowadays are including that controller mic in the game and how you play the game as well. Like, there's some games where there's stealth factor, and you literally have to actually be quiet. So if you're playing and a screaming kid comes in, you might have a horde of zombies that's coming to attack you because your screaming kid came into the living room.
Ref in NBA whatever year. Just do that. Whenever you take a foul, you'll get a technical for cussing out the ref.
Oh,
that's
wow.
all. So let's get to the elephant in the room that we always talk about every week because of some.
Oh boy!
So Cyberpunk 2077. I've seen commercials on TV during sports games. This game is getting the hype of all hypes. Now, I gotta say, Billy and I stand corrected. This game is coming out. It's happening. It's a real thing.
I'm still questionable, but we'll find out on the 9th.
Yeah, you can be questionable.
I I have a feeling they may delay it on the PS5. Well, no, because you can play it backwards compatible. But they might delay the full PS5 version a little
They're
longer.
even having fun with the delays right now, though. Yeah, because you've seen the tweets.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
there's no game coming. We just wanted to hang out with Keanu. You know, I mean, they know that they're screwing up. But the thing is, with this game, it's so hyped. It can be delayed another year, and people are still going to buy this thing. The only thing that's suffering now is the pre-sales. Yeah, beyond that, when it finally comes out, they're not going to lose sales no matter how long this takes.
Well, and I know one thing that at least for me, and I know a few different people, is I looked at the pre-order, and I was going to pre-order it, and then I'm just like, I don't know, with everything that's been going on, I really want to wait till it comes out, till I see some people playing it, till I see that it's good and fleshed out and whatnot, and then I'll think about buying it. I really want the game. Like, it looks amazing. But
that's a good point. But if it comes out and the reviews are even off, they're in trouble.
If there's anything wrong with the game, if there's anything wrong with the game at this point, if they pull a No Man's Sky, then it's going to be hard to come back from.
No Man's Sky, we talked about them quite a bit. They've done a great job turning it around. They were the example of how to screw up a game release in recent history, and props to them for actually really pulling it out and making great games, making free expansions, making better content. Like No Man's Sky is playable. It's actually really good. Billy and Phil have played it and streamed it. Like it's impressive stuff, and it's a good pickup for sure. So Days Gone, had the same issue for sure, Zhang. Spectacular game eventually, but it stumbled out of the gate. And that game, actually, people are recommending it now more than ever because it's fixed. It has great PS5 enhancements, by the way. And I was watching some streams of that the game is enhanced for PS5 hardware, and it looks incredible. There's actually some tweaks to the gameplay. I believe there's like potentially new gameplay features and how you complete levels. So it's actually kind of a differently playable game, but it looks incredible.
Yeah. So Cyberpunk 2020 has already leaked. You have a little bit more information on this, Jeff? Because what?
Yeah. So Cyberpunk in its entirety has leaked in encrypted form 2 weeks ago, and now people are streaming the entire game, like the entire retail version of the game. And Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red is sending cease and desist letters to those streamers, and they're suing streamers because in Australia they tend to get releases a few days early. The PS5 was that way, and we're seeing different streamers around the internet that somehow got the game early. I don't know if they're influencers or if they're supposed to wait for the game to release to then post their stream. I'm not sure.
Well, usually how that works is, so let's say you're an influencer or a YouTube creator or some sort of content creator that is in the gaming industry. Usually how it works is the devs will send you a key to be able to download the game, and you usually can get it like anywhere from 3 to 7 days early, and usually what that gives them is it gives the YouTube creator or the streamer time to record content, and then when the game releases, they have a bunch of content they can just drop all at once. But they're usually not supposed to post it early or stream it early. They have very strict contracts saying you do not post this before the game is released. And it looks like some people did not follow that, either that or people got a hold of it in other ways.
Yeah, Zing, I'm not sure if Best Buy leaked copies.
Wow.
It's not the first time, but it does sound correct. I've heard a bunch of different venues of people getting it, and props to those people who are playing it early. To me, it tells me that there's an actual game and people are playing it. So pretty stoked about that.
Yeah.
Speaking
I'm
of
not picking it up probably this year. Like, I'm literally going to wait months until I have a PS5 to buy it, because it's a PS4 enhanced game now, played through backwards compatibility. And I hear it plays great and looks incredible, but
it does look a lot better on the PS5.
They admitted that it's not fully optimized for the PS5 yet.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk Twitter Gaming has this tweet just came out on my timeline, literally as we're talking about this. That's weird. That Twitter Gaming has teamed up with Cyberpunk to host the official launch party on December 9th at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Nice.
So it's like this tweet, you'll get a message, which I've already got, and you have the invite to get in.
Oh, that's really cool. Honestly, what day is December 9th? We could probably not put the launch stream up, but
it's a Wednesday.
We could come on. Oh, that's
next
perfect.
Wednesday.
The next day after, we will be able to essentially go over that broadcast and talk about the launch and stuff. But I'm excited for it. I will get it sometime this year, probably next year. But I'm probably going to end up getting it on PC, mainly because I can't afford a PS5 right now, on top of the fact that you can't find them. So I will be getting it on PC.
I will say I'm excited that Twitter's doing the launch party and not Facebook. I'm about it now. I'll be honest.
It's returning. Facebook it may not be dying, but Facebook is becoming less relevant.
Oh, yeah.
Facebook's got issues right now with a lot of things, and I've even found myself going more to Twitter. By the way, it's at Backstage Staff on Twitter if you want to give us a follow. Shameless plug. But that's at Backstage Staff. But no, I find myself going more and more to Twitter, and even us. This past week in our meetings that we've had off the air, we've even talked more pushing towards Twitter than worrying about Facebook.
Yeah, well,
and TikTok. Zangrillo, ironically, comes up at the same time here. We're looking towards TikTok. Billy's leading that initiative. We're not even in our meetings anyway. I'm off track here. It's my ADD. Sorry. Go back to your show.
Yeah, it's our show, Frank. Damn it. But what were you saying?
But no, Facebook. I think Facebook is probably going to crumble within the next 3 to 5 years. To be honest, I think it's going to go the wayside of MySpace. But anywho, Cyberpunk. Yeah, I'm excited for the game as long as it releases with what it says it does, and as long as I can change my dick size.
Yeah, and
because I will have a small peen.
So
what?
I will have a small peen in Cyberpunk.
Oh, okay.
He's gonna go little big man syndrome. That's probably a smart move. Big peen will just slow you down.
Exactly. So go ahead, Jeff.
Flight Simulator. Yeah. So we have Frank on the stream tonight, and if anyone's gone full bore into Flight Simulator, he has. He's got his sticks. He's got all the cool stuff. But Flight Simulator will now get official VR support later this month.
Man, I cannot wait.
That is huge. So sitting in your cockpit,
should be well by then.
Controls that Frank has with your Quest, which Frank has, I'm a little jealous because he is going to fully enjoy Flight Simulator.
Yeah,
as he's there. That's freaking
so. And I can fly, so I like it. I love it.
With the whole VR aspect, that's going to change things. I downloaded it and got it set up. And it's just looking at the intricacies that are in it. Literally, you can move and touch every knob that is inside those planes. So, if you're flying a big Boeing 747, you better know how to fly a Boeing 747. What knobs you need to turn on first,
you better know
and
how
everything.
To run your tracks and
it's insane. So to have that in VR and be able to reach up and actually look up and flip your knobs, actually feel like you're in a cockpit, turning everything on, that is gonna be awesome.
That's pretty crazy.
I can't wait. That's gonna be that's gonna be amazing. And Flight Simulator, people are like, oh, well, it's just a game you fly around. You don't kill anybody. You don't do it. No, it is a relaxing game. It's a simulator of flight. And but it's more than that. You'll find yourself, I know Billy's like, I'm trying to talk, but
no, that's not what I was doing. Zhang mentioned something about my beard, and I was just like,
oh, okay. But you'll find yourself going on YouTube and Google and Bing or whatever search engine you want to use today, and finding out how to fly these things so that you can do it right. It's if you thrive knowledge like some of us do, and just knowing things, Flight Simulator it's the bomb. It's amazing.
It's really cool.
So not only do we have VR support coming, the December 22nd implementation comes ahead of the Sims next big content update, which will include 60 new points of interest. We got Great Britain coming, nice. New airports, Manchester Barton and Land's End, scheduled to launch in, wow, pun intended, in January 28th. So you have more airports, more areas to explore, and awesome. Great Britain's going to be pretty sick, by the way. So that's pretty awesome. Flight Sim is doing great things, and I've not heard a negative review out of it from anyone that I know that's watched it or played it.
All the features on there are so cool. Like when you're making your flight plan, you can like literally see where real flights that are taking place in the world right now, real flights, where they're at, and then you can also see them actually landing at airports and stuff. So like what's happening out in the real world time, as close as you can get it, you're seeing in game. You're seeing planes land at airports that are actually landing at those airports in real life.
That's crazy.
Like it's insane. Like when you're taxiing out onto the runway, like you have to wait for planes when they're coming in, and those are real flights that are happening out in the world, and it's just cool to like that you're like kind of a part of the real world, but you're not, obviously, because you're in a virtual world. But like you have that little bit of the outside world coming in. You have the real flights that are coming into airports. So I don't know. I just think it's insanely cool, and it's awesome.
So,
the next topic.
To kind of move on, we have Google Stadia this week. Super Bomberman R Online is Stadia's second totally free game. So Bomberman's pretty sweet, we gotta say, but heading into his second year, Google Stadia streaming service is adding more games, making it easier to play without having to pay. Okay, so that's a little lofty, but Bomberman R is, it's coming, it's free. If you play Stadia, more power to you. And it is free as of right now. So you just need a Stadia account, which is completely free, but you need a Stadia, which is $100, and you get a Chromecast. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you have to pay $100 to get the Stadia. You have to pay a little bit more money to get a Google Chromecast. And then you get a free Stadia account, but there's only 2 free games, and then what? There's other games on there that you have to pay for? Like, that's crap.
So it's $100 for the Stadia controller, which is really good quality, and the Chromecast Ultra. That's $100 for all of it.
Okay.
And that's actually cheap, because the Chromecast Ultra is $70 by itself.
Yeah, well, Stadia's garbage, so it should be free. But the fact the controller's really good quality, it's worth probably at least $40-$50. And it makes a great controller for Steam. So for those who care.
Google screwed up Cardboard VR, and we expect them to get Stadia going.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're not for Stadia. I hope you know. Have you listened to our show before, Frank? We shit on Stadia.
I really hope that they can become a player, because competition's good, especially in the gaming industry.
That would be great.
But my hopes are getting dashed every week.
It's Google, and they do what they're famous for. Is they put a great effort into something and release it half-assed. It doesn't do well, and then they abandon it. And then everyone else is successful because they're not stupid, and they see its great support behind it, great community behind it, and Google's
trying to sue Facebook over Oculus. Yeah, because they're saying they're cornering the market in VR. It's like, no, how about you do something to step up the market instead of suing people to stop doing what they do good?
Yeah.
Or just, like you say, buy up a great firm with great hardware and make your next gen VR.
Yes.
Like Google, Facebook, PlayStation.
Just because they started the research sooner does not mean that they should have to suffer.
No. Yeah. And the Pixel isn't even a crap phone.
And I'm anti-Facebook.
But
that they've got.
Behind the Pixel is kind of trashy. So sorry for those phone owners out there.
But so anyways, moving on from Stadia because we have a lot more stuff to cover.
We do. We really got to keep cooking here. So let's go into what's really affected all of us at the stream tonight, and probably everyone watching, and that's scalpers. So if you want a Switch, if you want Xbox Series S or X, if you want PlayStation 5 optical and digital only versions, you're screwed. The Switch is probably the easiest to attain, but all throughout COVID, Switch prices were insanely high, and Frank sold his Switch he had from the inception of the Switch for like 150 more bucks, and it's because of scalpers, because the demand is high, but scalpers totally ruin it for everybody.
Yes,
they do. There's a lot of cases in the last 2 weeks of PS5 scalpers, and there are scalpers with bots out there that have nailed over 1,000 units. One scalper in particular has like 3,500 consoles almost of PS5s. Now that's just ultra shitty, because if you look on eBay, these PS5s are going for way over $1,000. Some over $2,000.
I wish
$500.
I wish that Sony and Microsoft had the ability, but we also know with China and trying to get parts here and all of that, it's impossible. But I wish they had the ability to do that release, that limited release, like what they had to do, and then go Garth Brooks on them after all the scalpers stocked up like that. Just say, okay, well, here's the real load. Have fun.
Well, Sony has released some documentation out there that there is a 10 million unit surge coming very quickly. It's not going to be before the holidays, but early January, there's 10 million PS5.
But see, that's the thing. The holidays are the important part.
It is, but seriously, there's nothing out there. There won't be anything out there. It's gone. So
but if you're trying to buy for your son or your daughter, or you give them a box with a piece of paper that says coming soon, it's not the same as
children are screwed. I understand this, but the fact of the matter is the scalpers are screwed here shortly, because they're going to have stock loads of these PS5s and Series X's, and they're going to want $1,500+ for them. And then Sony's going to dump 10 million console units in the beginning of January. Yeah. Like you've said it before, the average gamer is in their 30s. So a lot of people, this is affected, but it's not like, I didn't get one for Christmas and I'm not playing video games anymore. No, it's just going to suck, and you'll get it shortly after that.
Yeah.
And Zhang brought up in chat, Sony should have sold via their store and tied it to your PSN name. That way they knew that their users were getting taken care of. That's said they were going to do that. They were going to do that, and they caught so much backlash because then it was going to be limited to the one, what about kids that, that have two houses or two kids that use one PSN, whatever. It was Sony got trashed with that idea.
Could have done it for 2 months and then opened it, for everyone. Like,
got your users taken care of and then open it up to the rest of the public.
Yeah. Right. If one kid has the same account and he's got divorced parents and he's at one house and then the other, that kid can take the damn console from one house to the other.
Exactly.
Or just like, damn it, that's better than not having one.
Yeah,
like,
at least you have one at one area.
Yes.
Sony tried to play the PR game too much on this. They should have stuck to exactly what Zhang said and said you can get it by your PSN name. Kind of what Microsoft did. There were certain people that had invites because of their gamer score or time played and all this other. Microsoft did that, and they caught hell for it. Sony backed off of it completely. Don't play the PR game. You're going to be short. You're not going to have the supply. Do what's best for your community.
Yeah.
Zhang, I'll vote for you as CEO of Sony. That's totally cool with me.
Same.
Just
because I want to see how that shit house works.
Oh, some cool shit had happened.
Because I know that
AMD can't be any worse, and she's doing amazing.
I know how much of a troll Zhang is, and I can just imagine him as CEO of Sony and how trolly he would be for that time.
That would be pretty epic. So,
but
it's happened to Microsoft too. Like, these consoles aren't there for purchase. I know of people who stayed in lines for hours and they're just not there. So, in 2020 blows. We all know this. If you get a PS5, like I hope to get one in January, then I'll freaking wait till January. But I'm not buying Cyberpunk 2077 for my PS4 Pro. I'm not. Like, I will wait for it to be on PS5. I'll wait for people to tell me it's good.
If they give you the upgrade, what's the difference?
Because I don't trust them. That's the difference.
Because he wants his
later.
Because he wants his first experience in that game to be the best experience that he can have. Because this game's been in development for what, 8 or 11 years or something like that.
11. Yeah, some stupid amount
So,
of time.
and I know you've been following it for quite a long time, haven't you, Jeff?
Yeah, since at least about 2012, I've known and researched about Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
what was it? 2 years ago at I want to say it was CES when Microsoft brought Keanu out. Yeah, that's when I really got hooked in waiting. Yeah, because come on, Keanu's a badass. You gotta respect.
I mean, he's motherfucking John Wick. So
yeah, that's just it. This guy's kind of reliving his second career push, and 2077's like snatching him up. Like it's kind of a big deal. So I hope it's great. I hope Metacritic and these scores are in the 90s for Cyberpunk because they need it.
They're going to destroy them no matter what, and people need to realize that. There's nothing Cyberpunk can do to meet the expectations at this point. The expectations are too high.
It'll be fine if it's a good game.
Well, it's like saying the Chiefs have to repeat and win the Super Bowl again, or else they had an unsuccessful season. The expectation's too high.
I see where you're coming from. That like literally, they're still going to get bad publicity for any tiny small thing that's wrong. Like
if there's a screen tear, they're going to get raped.
Right, that's why they're already playing it off, saying, "Is there going to be a game or not?" And KG, right? He is Neo and Matrix for life. I freaking love the Matrix. But yeah, they're already downplaying it and making it a joke because they know criticism is coming like freaking dump truck loads of freaking rock. Like, it's going to hurt. But they're already kind of making it light and humorous because the naysayers are going to hit it hard. This bug is here. My PlayStation 5 is looking like my PS4 Pro. Like, I get it.
It's going to be there. I mean, they're going to get trashed for every little thing. But
and plus, that's how big the hype of this is over half the show's been Cyberpunk, whether or not we've intended it that way. It is what it is. That's how big the hype is, and that's why I'm so worried about this game.
Well, I'm not worried about the game. I think it is going to be an okay game. I think CD Projekt Red is. I think they're pretty confident now in what they have because of all the delays they've done. I think that's why they delayed it. Is they don't want to upset people because they have been, working on this for 11 years. So I think it's going to be good, but I definitely think there is going to be a lot of bad publicity out there that gets put out there because of people complaining about things like screen tears, like one little screen tear, or like this pixel is out of fucking place, and they're going to be like, this is the worst game ever, and it's like, no, it's not, dude. Like, calm your tits and let's move on.
Look at Cold War. You can't do any worse than that.
No Man's Sky was worse.
Yeah.
Cold War is pretty bad.
Cold War was friggin' shitty.
Anyways, moving on.
Yeah. So let's get into some Xbox stuff. Microsoft's been pretty quiet till this latest Game Pass Ultimate deal. So now we're Game Pass Ultimate new users have 3 months for $1. Like, that's pretty sweet.
Yes.
That's pretty sweet. And you can play it on PC. You know, there's so many different outlets to play Game Pass that you're not like so limited to have an Xbox console, because I will not have an Xbox console. I'll just play
You
on
should
PC.
try it. The new one's kind of badass.
And we'll get to why they're badass very soon, Frank, because there's pretty sweet shit going on about the Series X and S. But Game Pass had a huge day. So not only do we have this 3 months for $1, and it's traditionally like $15 plus, but also there's a lot of games that are coming quickly. And yeah, so check out some of these games. You have Bloodstain, Ritual of the Night, Golf with Your Friends, Hyperdot, Inkenfell, Indivisibles, Scourgebringer, The Tourist, the Vambrace, Cold Soul. Like there's a bunch of stuff coming to PC, Age of Wonders, Metro, Last Light, Redo, Mudrunner, Naruto to Boruto. Like there's all sorts of crazy stuff coming. And this is all in the next couple weeks to the very beginning of January. So this is what Stadia should have been, damn it.
Yeah.
Like Stadia should really be pushing all of these new games rather than like, oh, look, Bomberman 2 is free. Like, Stadia hasn't said shit for months, and now it's like, ooh, we get a free game. Ooh, it's free if you were YouTube Premium. Like, okay, tell me why I need to do this now. So it's a big deal, man. Microsoft is not banking their future on hardware. It's obviously software. And I'm okay with that. So Dragon's Quest 11S Echoes of Elusive Age, December 4th. Like, I mean, there's all sorts of goodies in here, guys. Check out the latest drop and updates coming out on the Game Pass. It will not disappoint.
I will say I am very impressed with Game Pass, especially the PC side of things. I mean, there's so many good games on there that I've been able to enjoy and play. And it's not that expensive. I mean, you know, it's reasonably priced to be able to play hundreds of different games. So
I don't know if I'd put Constantine over Neo, but he was a badass there as well.
true.
So enterprising developers are emulating PS2 games on the Series S and X. Guys, I don't know if you've seen this. Holy crap. PS Now is better than it was, but it's not what Game Pass.
It's crap.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Compared to Game Pass, no.
Here's the difference between PS Now and Game Pass. PS Now does not have nearly as many, like, what you would consider AAA titles, like big, huge games that are coming out. They don't. PS Now has a lot of older games, which is cool in and of itself, but they don't have necessarily as many newer games as I would like myself.
Speaking of older / retro games, I'm seeing a lot of these emulators being loaded on Series X and S consoles, so you can play PlayStation 2 games, PlayStation 3 games, PlayStation 1 games, like all these crazy retro games
On your Xbox?
Running perfect 60 FPS, and the Xboxes are killing it right now.
I just want to see the PlayStation Sony symbol pop up from PS2 on an Xbox.
And I want to see the smoke come out of my Xbox when it does it too.
Yes. Well, we were talking about that a while back, that, like, what Microsoft, like, there might be a game that pops up on PlayStation that it'll like the Microsoft symbol will pop up and on a PlayStation.
Yeah, also on Xbox, and then it loads into your PlayStation.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh damn it! Yeah, like Bethesda games that are coming, like that's id Software stuff. Like that would be pretty sweet if Microsoft trolled Sony that hard. But yeah, so all these emulation games, it's RetroArch emulator. Check it out. So thanks to the Series X and S consoles developer mode, the emulation software can be added as a universal Windows application, allowing users to download a retail version of the emulation software directly to their console, so players don't have to wait for a re-release to play an older favorite. And by older favorite, we're talking thousands of games available in any second. So you want to play Metal Gear? Go for it. This is really crazy stuff. And it's not really being hyped as much as it should be, because that's pretty sweet stuff. Yeah. If I had a Series S, you're already kind of like that budget mode, and I know Frank's got a Series S. It still plays great and all, but that's a huge bonus to be like flaunting it in front of your PS5 friends, or friends you know want a PS5 and they don't have one. Like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. One thing I'm waiting for, speaking of like emulators and stuff, is I'm waiting for people to release the fact that they've, like, especially on the Xbox side, because it's already Microsoft inherent, is basically essentially unlocking the console to where you could basically install an OS on it, and essentially use it as a computer. Because that would be a very cost-effective, badass computer.
Yeah, if you could turn the Series X into just your regular PC, like, it's a smoking awesome PC that, like, a college kid could have, and then, bam, flip it to a game console, and it's $500. Like, it is a powerhouse of a PC.
Yeah.
So I'm with you, Billy. Like, they are kind of onto something if they really wanted to screw the market up.
And the only reason I said that on the Xbox side is because Xbox is already Microsoft inherent. So
yeah,
they build their Xbox on the same systems and platforms that they build their OSs on and stuff. So I mean, it's different, but it wouldn't take much for someone who knows what they're doing to unlock it and be able to install, Windows OS on it or something like that, turn it into a PC.
Hey, speaking of just breaking that came out on Twitter, if you play Madden, the new and you have the Xbox Series S or X, the enhanced version has just been released and you can download it.
Nice. So we're finding that the Series S consoles, where they're like locked into a 30 frames per second cap, because the Series X is obviously a higher performance and therefore better in every way. So what we found in Assassin's Creed Valhalla is, as you load into the game with a Series S, it's actually defaulting to quality mode. So it's actually playing a better looking, graphically intensive version of Valhalla, where the Series X is locked into performance mode. So you get that buttery smooth 60 FPS, and it kind of varies between 4K ultra settings, down to 1080p, or more artifacting, pop in, all of that. So take it for what it's worth. The Series S is better than what I think we hyped it up to be, for the money especially. So would I buy a Series S over an X or a PS5? No, but if it were in front of me and I have the money in my hand, I'd probably pick it up, just because it's a hell of a machine for what it is.
Yeah, and something I'm putting up in the poll real quick for a 10 minutes is, we want to hear from you guys. What are you guys going for, the PS5 or the Xbox Series X? We really want to know what our viewers' preferences are.
But what if you want both?
Which one you gonna buy first? Damn it! That's
whichever one. I got my hand on the X first.
There is a both option on there for anybody who is planning on doing both, but we want to hear from you guys. So, anyways,
I got the Xbox first. So.
Yeah, we know, Frank. You shit on the PS5 and then got the
Xbox. Yeah, Frank.
No, I'm going to get the PS5. I just can't find the damn thing. Well, I can find it, but I'm not going to pay what they're wanting for it. Let me say it that way.
Yeah, we're not paying.
If you get your hands on one and you happen to be lucky enough to get your hands on two, you can go ahead and ship that right on over to me.
Well, and here's the other problem that I'm seeing now. Is I'm starting to find them for $600 and $700, which that's I'll give someone that, because by the time tax you're at $550, $560. You want to make $40, whatever. Yeah, even $100, whatever. But now you're getting into the scam territory too. Of well, I have to ship it to you. No, that's not going to happen. Where are we meeting? And then obviously I can't meet anybody right now. So am I going to send a friend with $700 to possibly go get robbed? I mean, it's a very delicate line trying to buy a secondary market.
Yeah. So, but anyways, moving on. It looks like we have some Sega news, and I got a very interesting picture over here ready to pop up. What's up with this Sega news? I haven't heard Sega news in a long time.
Yeah, so Sega's prepping for their 60th anniversary. Holy shit, that's a long time. In North America, so we obviously didn't get the same consoles Japan got, but Sega posted this video of like the history of their consoles and found, they named that. I mean, this is a crazy like classroom setting where it was in Japanese. And the guy's scribbling on the whiteboard of the different console code names and their evolution to like a planet name. And then he's showing these consoles and showing kind of what made the hardware better in this next-gen console and what separated things, like this cartridge turned into this cartridge, turned into a compact disc, turned into, from there. And we had kind of a weird introduction halfway through, and it was called the Sega Venus. And it was like the successor of the Game Gear, but obviously we never got it, but it was really never released. And Billy's putting that image up. It's a goofy looking, like, gold colored console, and it looks like a Game Gear.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's kind of crazy that just randomly, oh, by the way, here's this console, and everyone's like, do what now? I've never seen that. And it's pretty crazy. So if you guys like Sega, like I do, I was a huge Genesis 32X guy. Sega. I'll never forget.
Bad just now.
So Sega has, is very near and dear to my heart. If Sega was in the console wars today, I would really be rooting for them because Dreamcast was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It really didn't hold up a lot of water compared to the others, and that's kind of when I moved to Sony. But still, Sega always was fun. Sega's a great company, awesome games. We're stuck with Stadia and shit now. Like, let Sega come out of the wood. Yeah. So it was a great watch. It's kind of lengthy. You got to see the entirety of Sega's history with consoles. If you like that sort of thing, like Frank said, if you crave for more information, a deeper dive, check it out. It's worth the watch.
Yes, definitely.
And so let's get into some PlayStation stuff. We've had quite a bit of noise from the Sony side of the fence this week. A long-lost Superman game for the PlayStation 1 has been released. It was found and then released because we're now in kind of that, we're past the, I don't know, Frank can shine these legal terms on us, but it's to the point where it's beyond a suable time. and it just was never released, but it was also available for download and open source, so it was just released. And
how long's it been? And
it's PlayStation 1, so it's been a long time. And it's Superman for the PS1, and it's actually like the 3D version. Superman, it's not Superman 64. It's a whole different Superman. And I had Superman for the PlayStation 1, and I started looking up video of it, and it's totally different. I mean, it's pretty cool to see a PlayStation 1 game be released in 2020, almost 2021. I got to say, that has to set a new freaking record somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, there is statute of limitation legally, but if it was with intent, which releasing it later outside of the statute, that can get tricky.
But it can be great when it wasn't me, but I get to download that shit and have fun with it. So
right.
Exactly.
I mean, it is what it is. I'm just saying, but I mean, your chances once it goes into class action, you'll get your $2.43 and you'll be on about your way.
Yeah, it's supposed to be released in the year 2000. So this thing is 20-something years old.
Okay, maybe $1.43 then. I mean, you're not going to get anything out of that. You just got to let it go.
So after this guy, Richard Mandel, decided to break the news after winning this unreleased prototype on eBay auction dating back in 2013, there was some drama in the vintage rare game scene that prevented him from releasing Superman 2000, as it's kind of been called at that time. Now the drama has been largely resolved, and you can download a RAR file of the ISO to play in your preferred PS1 emulator software. So it sounds like he's already been through the drama legally, and now it's subsiding. So it's good to go. If anything, it's worth a sick YouTube video watch of playthrough.
Now, are emulators legal? That's something that I've always wondered.
I think the software is. Now, the additional software, like the games themselves, that's where it gets gray.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. Is the software is perfectly legal for them to create. They leave it up to their consumers that use the software to figure out how to get the games. They tell you what kind of file you need, but they don't usually. The emulator people don't usually create the games. They leave that up to speculation of the consumer on how to get those games. And the act of copying the game and making it into a playable file is illegal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. You'll never find the ROMs on the emulator dev page.
Here's the risk then. If someone, not condoning, was to partake, what's the best way to go about getting these?
Really just go get it like everyone else does, because they have to prove you never bought the game. Because if you bought the game, downloaded it to your computer,
it's free ride.
Whatever means you own it.
Yeah.
How they prove you don't own the game or never purchased the game, that's a pretty lengthy process.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued on emulators. I'll say it that way.
If you're a red flagged person on the internet, I'll put it that way, you probably ought to stray away from emulators, because it's just going to add on to a attention.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it in the sense of, like, movie streaming services, like, let's go Plex. Plex is completely legal. They are within their statute of limitations to do what they do. But
I have Plex.
But
people know this.
The acts in which you get the movies and put them on there, and the minute you share that with other people, then it becomes illegal.
Well, to some degree, because it is my movies, so to speak. Now,
yes,
and it's still private. And there was actually a lawsuit on this on Plex.
Yes, because it's still private, and I'm not downloading it.
We're not public performance. It's just like sharing. It's like sharing your DVD or your Blu-ray.
Well, it's like sharing your Netflix login too. Same premise. I'm not downloading the movie on my computer. I'm just watching it at my leisure, assuming Frank's not bricking his fucking computer in the middle of the night, like folding or whatever the hell he's doing, porn, I don't know. And I'm just like, God damn it, I want to watch The Grinch Stole Christmas. You're killing me over here. I've sent him texts at like 1 a.m. going, "What the fuck are you doing to your computer? Stop!"
It's like update time.
Yeah, I've logged on there.
Trying to watch Help.
I've logged on there and been in the middle of watching a movie, and then it just crashes. And I'm like, I text Frank and be like, "What in the world did you just do?" And he's like, "I shut down the server to do an update." I was like, "I was in the middle of the movie, you ass."
I've got 14 terabytes of movies right now, and I got another 3 terabytes to add to it on my next update.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, I have a lot of movies, and it takes time to organize all that stuff.
So Zhang, you're right though. There's a lot of emulators out there, and then you have Nintendo ROMs, and that's where it gets really dicey. I would not condone you downloading and having Nintendo ROMs and emulators. I'm just saying, Nintendo is super lethal, and if you're ever looked at for anything and somebody finds a Nintendo ROM, boom, you're done. Like you're going to fail.
As Zhang said, Sony and Sega don't seem to care, and I think if you think about it in a sense of like, let's look at Sony. Are they really going to still sell PS1s or PS1 games? Like, I think at this point, PS1 and PS2 emulators, they're just like, you know what? Let our consumers be able to have access to older games.
They have rights to sue, they just don't.
Yeah, but I think it's because they're like, let our consumers have fun with the older games. We're not selling anything off of those anymore. We're making plenty of money on our current setup.
Many years ago, I actually got sued over an emulator. I had a pretty popular Kansas City website that was a forum, and people came out there, talked about the news, different things was going on, whatever. But one of the things we had was an arcade. And in the arcade, you remember the Yeti games where they would drop the penguin and you just club it as a Yeti as far as you could. And yeah, anyway, the makers of that Yeti game sued the shit out of me. I got out of it, though, because I told them, I was like, I'll take it off. Okay, cool. And I got out of it. But the point was, emulators, you can get in trouble with with the penguin Sangrillo. It was an awesome game.
So, anyways. So, apparently, certain PS5 consoles are noisy due to the different cooling fans? Why are they not created the same?
So... It kind of came out of a press release unit, and this third party acquired a press release unit as well as a retail unit, and they noticed, wow, one is a little bit more audible than the other. We're not talking one's noisy as shit and the other one is quiet, but they took apart both fans on a live stream and showed there are 2 different fans with different blade construction, like as in multiple different blades. We're talking 17 blades to 23. That's quite a big difference. That's 6, obviously, but if anyone remembers back to the PS3 days, there was like 2 different blade fans out there as well in the later PS3s that were then swapped into the earlier jailbroke PS3s to make them cooler and quieter. Obviously, you did a thermal paste upgrade, maybe drilled some holes in the case, but we're seeing that if you have a PS5, you may have a little noisier one than that's going to be available now or soon, because they're A, revising it, and B, there's so many manufacturers making these things for Sony that there's going to be parts updates that are being executed kind of live, just in time production. It's going to be kind of a mess. If you want to see what blade fan you have inside your PS5, you can view this pretty easily without voiding your warranty. So there's probably going to be a part update you can purchase third party as well to make sure you have the highest performing, coolest, quiet PS5.
Yeah, I was about to say, I guarantee, there's going to definitely be some third parties that just create new fans for the PS5 to, continually make it better.
Absolutely. That's one nice thing about the PS5 that I'm hugely a fan of is it's easy to dissect and it's easy to clean. It's easy to upgrade. Sony really did their homework. There's been some talk about the PS5 running a little hot. Honestly, it's probably okay. And long term, we might see a little tweak to the liquid cooling, and the thermal pads on the memory seem to be a concern. It should be easily mitigated in the future if for those who care. And they made the thing so damn big they can easily refine the heat pipes and all the heat sink and make a PS5 Slim, as well as will there be a PS5 Pro, Billy? Can you pull up that?
I do have the article up. I don't know what part of this article you really want me to show, but ow.
It's the patent picture. Keep on scrolling.
This?
Oh, the new World of Warcraft update. That's another thing. I don't know if that was on the list.
There you go. So there are rumors about PS5 Pro in the works and PS5 Slim. And obviously what makes a big difference is this PS5 Pro. So the PS4 Pro launched 3 years into the previous console gen, proved to be a considerable boost over the Jaguar processors that were just in the normal PS4 Pro. I have a PS4 Pro. It's loud as shit. I don't think it's any different than the PS4.
Oh, they're miniature planes.
What? Oh, as far as noise, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're freaking loud.
I guess I lucked out because mine's actually pretty quiet.
Not mine.
Not mine. She's noisy. Now, the PS5 optical drive is freaking loud, but as soon as the game boots up and loads, the optical drive obviously cuts out, and then the system's pretty much silent. So this PS5 Pro, the patent that they filed, has dual GPU architecture. So this gives them the ability to create 2 smaller GPUs for a Slim, or maybe a single GPU, and then tag a dual GPU like SLI onto.
That's my question, and where I think Jeebus would be good if he was here tonight. Is why go SLI? You're taking away CPU power for graphics, which okay, you need the graphics. That's kind of what everybody wants, but SLI is older technology. That why would you incorporate it into a newer one?
So let me answer this pretty easily for you, Frank. SLI is external, and they're bridged with a little clip on the end of the cards, and it's 2 singular discrete GPUs working through software to somewhat give you better performance, assuming the software is fully capable of utilizing SLI. Yeah. And it never is. Like, I've seen gains of like 20-ish +% out of SLI, and that's garbage considering you spent 100% more money to get it.
Right.
Now
you never get the benefit of a dual card.
Right, but this is comparing external daisy chain graphics cards together. This patent is all kind of intuitive and built into the architecture. Obviously, it's all on one motherboard, but if you think about chiplets and how APUs have multiple GPU processors built into one APU, and that's what these consoles are, and laptops, and the new Apple M1 has up to 4 to 8 cores, and I think it's multiple GPU chiplets through the APU die. This to me now is less of an argument of it's actual 2 separate GPUs that are linked together to give you marginal performance. I think this is just a way for them to make GPUs chiplets to fully embed them through the Infinity Fabric, which is AMD architecture, and utilize a much higher performance.
AMD stepped up their game. I can't. I got to remember that's the X factor here.
So, yeah. Not to break up the conversation, but we just got the results back from our poll, and it looks like the majority of our viewers at 75% is going for both.
Oh, nice. That's surprising. I did not think we would have that high of a percentage on both. So.
Well, and I can tell you why, because even with cross compatibility, you still can't have party chat on PS5 versus Xbox. So you still have to use in-game chat. And if you've got friends on both sides, you want to be able to play with both your friends on both sides in private party chat, even while playing a public game. I mean, that's a big factor, and it's worth the $500 to a lot of people to be able to have that option of having your group and only your group, and not have to listen to trash talk if you're playing COD or situations like that. That's my belief.
I mean, you're partly right. The new update with the Sony major update they've just had kind of re-evolves the party chat aspect, and it's getting closer to Xbox, but it's not quite there. Sony's obviously listening. The problem is the Xbox Game Pass is crazy. So
that's worth it in itself on the Xbox side, though.
Yeah.
$15 a month, you don't have to buy a damn game. Yeah. I mean, yes, you have to buy some new stuff, but Microsoft's even throwing that stuff in.
Yeah,
well, software. I mean, you've got Bethesda. Like, those are huge things where this is why, like, Stadia is such a joke, is $15 a month and I'm golden. Or I buy Stadia for $100, get a couple free games that are kind of trash, and then you have to buy the whole $70 AAA title on Stadia, assuming that shit's going to work in 6 months. So that's where, man, Microsoft has it down.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's close this thing out with some PC news and rebuttal. Yeah, you'll like this, Frank. So the 3060 Ti from NVIDIA just launched. It's another paper launch. It's another major disappointment. It's another scalper opportunity for bots to pick it up, allegedly, if there were some to pick up. At $400, this thing is – NVIDIA's obviously pulling things out of thin air to stop.
Their stock prices, though? They got to do something.
Exactly. Well, they got to stop this AMD destruction, because AMD is just
owning the world right now.
They are. I mean, stock-wise, investor-wise, for sure, but graphics card-wise, NVIDIA still makes great high-end. But it's super competitive right now, and the pricing is really competitive.
Well,
but now NVIDIA's like, shit, we need to go mid-range and low-range, budget range, quick before AMD does. And AMD's like, all right, we'll see you to that, because we're already priced cheaper on the top end, arguably better on the top end, and AMD's great at making mid-range and budget cards.
And if you look at the benchmarks on AMD's new graphics cards, I mean, they are exactly comparable to the NVIDIA cards. So NVIDIA's got competition now.
And I forget there's two different syncs. AMD has one, NVIDIA has one. It's like FreeSync, and there's something else.
FreeSync is AMD.
And I forget what NVIDIA's is.
Is it G-Sync or something?
It's G-Sync.
But the FreeSync monitors are more expensive.
I have a FreeSync monitor, but I have an NVIDIA card, so.
I have AMD with FreeSync, and I had the G-Sync monitors are cheaper. You get that pretty much standard almost.
Well, G-Sync's been around for a lot longer than FreeSync as well.
Right. But the FreeSync to me, and I've had both, the FreeSync to me, even on a flawed card that I have from AMD, is still better than the G-Sync I had on at that time. It was a 1080i. It's much better on the FreeSync side. It's just kind of amazing.
Sup, Buttercup?
Hey, Kyle, how's it going, man?
Kyle!
So here's my big thing with this new realm of competition, and AMD is coming out of the woodwork, and Radeon is now a word that actually holds some weight. It's cheaper, it's comparable, and NVIDIA is freaking the fuck out, because they came out with this next generation graphics card from the 2000 series. So the 2080 Ti was destructive. and no one could touch it. And oh, by the way, it was like $1,500. Screw you, NVIDIA. But they could do it.
It's always been like
competition. So then AMD with Big Navi comes out swinging, and Frank and I talked about this a year ago about Big Navi.
Yep.
Now, dude, I hope it's 80% as good as NVIDIA because it's going to rock the world of GPUs. Well, here we are, and they are like neck and freaking neck, and AMD's obviously cheaper, but when NVIDIA released their 3000 series, we were like, whoa, why are the prices like 30, 40% less?
Right.
Huh. And Billy, I'm sure, remembers me going, dude, I just hope they bring something to the table because it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And
well,
it needs to get bitch slapped.
And it really...
Well, because then AMD comes out and is like, oh, okay, you kind of want to play? Okay, we'll play. 20% across the board cut tomorrow. Yeah. It was just like, what the hell?
Well, and it really sucks for people who, like me, who recently built a computer and went cheap on the GPU because, you know, I still got a good GPU, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to future-proof my build so that way I could just, like, only really needed to upgrade RAM and GPU over the next 5 to 10 years. But it really sucks when you buy a, you know, $350 GPU and then you look, and for $450 I can get a GPU that could smack my GPU's ass out the door across the world. Like... And it's like I could have spent $100 extra and waited a few months and gotten a better card.
But that's also where we're at right now in PC in general.
Sure.
Is there is a war on development. Finally, we haven't seen this since the mid 2000s. Back when Cyrix, AMD, Intel, all of them were battling.
For the shit, Sapphire was still kicking out graphics cards that were killer. Like,
we haven't seen a war like this in 20 years.
And what's funny is we're getting a war on the GPU side now, and on the CPU side, the war is starting to end because Intel
Where are they going to go?
Intel's not doing anything.
Yeah. It's done. But not only is Intel crap, they're expensive and hot. And
exactly.
And they're slow compared to AMD.
Right. It not just like gaming now. AMD has the crown at a great price point, but now like productivity, there isn't even a measure for it. Like having to run benchmarks like 5 times the load or running it 5 times consecutively on a Threadripper just to get a benchmark to last 5 minutes to measure the damn thing. So it heats up.
Intel for the longest time had that level 2 cache. All through the mid 2000s, early 2010s, the AMD couldn't have because of the trademark and the patent. Well, that expired. Here comes level 2 cache playing field, and AMD had spent that time perfecting it and just raped Intel with their own technology.
Yeah,
and Intel got lazy, just like Nvidia's done. I mean, Nvidia a generational gap at a great price, but AMD's still like, hey, we're going to do what we did to Intel and just walk all over you.
On top of the fact that AMD has moved on, it has, mastered the art of 7 nanometer and is working on going smaller. And Intel can't get off 14.
Well, and they're talking about 6 nanometer within a year.
Yeah.
Actually, 5.
The latest I saw that they were on target for the next by the end of 2021. They believe they could hit 6.
So it's not 6. They go to 7 nanometer enhanced, which is what you're talking about.
Okay.
It is kind of smaller, but it's not 6, and it's because like the node size has to be from 7 to 5 to whatever from that point. And the new iPhones are already at 5 nanometers.
So 7E then, I guess, is what I'm looking at. Okay.
7 plus or 7E, depending on how you look at it. But regardless, you're right, Frank. Like NVIDIA, and I heard this about 8 months ago when Zen 3 was fresh and like hitting hard, or Zen 2. And they're like, yeah, we're already working on Zen 4 and Zen 3 is ready to launch. And of course, here we are, boom. Zen 3 hits, AMD 5000 series, and it's enhanced to perform a higher gigahertz level at no more TDP. And Intel's like, God damn it, that's the only thing we had going for us was our freaking frequency. And now AMD's just screwing us, and everything else is so much better and cheaper. Like
Intel
and running. to catch up.
And when you get on the Intel side of things, I mean, when you're trying to build a computer with Intel, like if you like, let's say I build a computer with Intel, then I want to build another computer 5 or 6 years later because mine's starting to get a little bit, down in the dumps. Guess what I have to do when I upgrade my Intel chip? I have to get a whole new motherboard. Guess what I don't have to do with AMD 9 times out of 10 because they stayed on the same chipset. Yeah.
Yeah,
and that's another thing Intel's messing up on is they need to start building on the same socket set.
And it's tough. It's tough when you innovate. It's tough to keep it form factored to a last gen chipset. That's insane.
I get it.
But because AMD has created Zen 2 or Zen architecture with chiplets and a Northbridge, Southbridge that work with chiplets to be able to expand that, it's all based on similar architecture. So you can enhance and run a 12 core as long as the chipset was designed to be enabled to do that. Your chipset's carrying the data better because you're designed for chiplets, where Intel's like, we got one freaking size CPU and we're going to put 12 cores on that. Well, shit, we need more socket pins. So there goes the freaking chipset, which means another new motherboard. And we already released 2 different motherboards in the last year. So there's a third one. I mean, at some point, your consumer has to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah. Stop making me spend $400+ on a motherboard to get a decent one so I can overclock my 10D90 100K or whatever they're calling it to another 500 megahertz more. And I mean, it's just it's asinine on the Intel side, and I feel sorry for the blue fanboys because I'm running one right now on my PC. Like, I get it, Intel was great, they suck, they are way behind. AMD is where it's at.
Well, I've talked to several high-end IT people over the past several months, and where AMD last year at this time, Intel was the $200 stock, AMD was the $17 stock.
Yep.
You fast forward to today, Intel is the $40 stock, AMD is the $92 stock. Yeah. So, and what happened is AMD didn't care about the commercial market that Intel did with the server farms and whatever. Intel really they went after the gaming market, but they were more on the commercial side. And when Corona hit, it was all about reduced footprint. And IT people had to learn how to do with 4 racks to make it work in one. To reduce footprint, power.
And here comes the Threadripper.
Yep.
All 64 cores can run a whole entire server rack.
AMD's like, we've got that solution right now. You can take out 5 racks with just one.
And have the same performance.
Yep.
Oh, and by the way, it's insanely cheaper. It's easy to get parts for because motherboards have been out for years. I mean, it's like a true kick in the dick in every way.
AMD, by accident, was able to take over. Amazon went to AMD.
That's insane.
And that's finally public.
Yeah, they released that to their shareholders like, goddamn, what was that, like November last year?
Yeah, that they were going to make the switch. But then they made it public that their AWS is now running AMD architecture. So that was huge shot to Intel.
Oh, yeah.
And what does that mean? They're phasing out their Intel farms. And not to mention the security breaches, Frank. Holy shit, you can tell us more about Intel security breaches.
Oh, it's just unreal what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at a server farm, when they've got like, let's say they got 5 racks, you're looking at they're spending, maybe upwards of $20,000-$30,000 on GPU or CPUs for those racks. Whereas now AMD comes in and it's like, you could spend about $10,000 on not 10.
It's about 4,000 to 5,000 a rack.
Yeah, 4,000 to 5,000 a rack instead of like 10,000 a rack on Intel CPUs because
and it's like 4 times faster.
Yeah, and you can get the same performance out of 1 rack that you do out of 5. And then if you build 5 of those racks, then you're getting the same performance as if you had 20 racks. And Intel can't compete with that. I mean, they just can't.
Well, in November of last year, whenever we heard the announcement, it was right after both Sony and Microsoft said they were going AMD architecture on the next gens. Then I saw the investor relations with Amazon. I told Jeff then, I was like, it's $18 a stock. We have no reason not to buy.
Yeah, scoop it the hell up.
And I held until after Super Bowl. And first round at 30 something, second round at 36 something. It's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have no choice but to be an AMD fan at this point. It's just so much better. It truly is at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, Intel.
But back to the NVIDIA, because we got way off track on that one. Yeah. The NVIDIA card. How, it even at a $400 price point, $450 price point, how's that going to stack up to what AMD's putting up right against it?
So here's the thing. AMD doesn't have anything with Radeon yet. Intel or NVIDIA is just shoehorning these cards out that they were releasing probably later 21 as value mid-range, but because it's like immediately competitive, they have to like start crapping this stuff out now. Yeah. And Radeon's just waiting because NVIDIA knows AMD has got this all thought out, and they're the king of mid-range and low-range. So it's been a shit show on NVIDIA's side, and I don't even think AMD's done releasing their top-end cards yet. I think there may be an even higher.
I think they're rat-holing.
They are.
I think they've got a lot of stuff up their sleeves that we have no clue about yet.
Lisa Su, she is one tiger lady because she will absolutely claw her way to the top.
She's crazy as if you ever listen to her, you're like, how the hell is this person?
She is insanely smart. Oh, and she's a board of directors for IBM. Like, that lady is just successful everywhere.
And she's brutal. She has that take no prisoners. She, like I said, she'll cut prices 20% in a day if she feels that anyone's getting close to her.
Here's the thing. Radeon's losing for how long, Frank? Like at least 10 plus years. And now, right now, Radeon will make them crazy money at those price points, going from negative and costing you since you bought the Radeon name to now they're going to make money. What's to say they don't say, you know what, fuck it, let's cut it 40%, sell it at cost, let it be a loss lead, and just have everybody be Team Red. Like they can do that overnight.
We get the processor that blends with it. We get the
they get everything. But the major issue is they just don't have the volume. They don't have the market share to be able to do that overnight. So they might as well just make their stockholders happy and just have no stock because everything sells out immediately because it is that good. I think they're in a comfortable spot.
They can't import AMD chips.
Screw it.
Whether it's video or processor or even anything with AMD on, they can't import it fast enough right now. You have to order it and wait on back order.
Yeah.
Well, are we about ready to raid somebody? I think I hear my dog turn. No, I gotta go check that out.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and take off then. Are you good for me to end the show, Jeff?
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to take off. Let's pick somebody to raid.
It was good seeing everybody. Follow us.
Looks like we're going to raid Allie Mally. She is playing some Dead by Daylight. Good game.
I still haven't played that game. Need to.
You need to get it. It's on Xbox Game Pass. It is fun. Download it. We'll play. It is also, I think it's crossplay now.
Okay.
So,
my dogs are.
But thank you all for being here. Everybody who was in the chat tonight. Thank you, Frank, for popping on. Jeff, wonderful as always.
My ADD is in full effect.
Yeah, I saw what Frank was doing behind the scenes and just be glad you didn't know. Anyways, so we are going to raid Miss Allie Mally. Let's throw in the hype for her, and so onwards and upwards, boys. Nerds Deep. See you next week for the official Cyberpunk 2077 talk show. I don't fucking know.
Talk shit, talk show. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll know by then if this game is good because there'll be plenty of people streaming it and there'll be plenty of resources to go check it out. So, all right, and we will see you all later. Goodbye.
Bye. Ah!